building AI agents on Sui. So to give you a quick background about myself, I was the president of my school's blockchain club, and I also co-designed and taught the first credit-bearing course on NFTs, which I was reminded by driving by Stanford. That was at Brown University in spring 2022. So I designed that class at top ticked NFTs, and then it's been down only from there. And that was so that was the start of my crypto career. Graduated into the bear market and got a job as a VC at Distributed Global, and did a lot of really cool research there. Researched a lot of different cutting edge areas of blockchain technology, and really fell in love with Move and thought it was a cool new builder paradigm in for L1s, and was really attracted to Sui and what Sui was doing. And so I met my co-founder Mike, who was incubated by Polychain at the end of near the end of 2023, and that's how Talus was started. We started building with AI agents. Yeah, so to give you a quick overview about what I'm going to talk about today, tell you a little bit about Talus and the problem that we're trying to solve with AI agents. Talk about Nexus, which is the framework we're developing for agents, and talk about some of our product roadmap. So first of all, what is an agent? Right? How is an agent in Web3 different than an agent in Web2? The thing that Mike and I identified when we were coming up with what would be a cool use case for combining crypto and AI would be this idea of autonomous value transfer, because this is something that is really not possible, or is not going to be very performant in Web2. For the same reason that we needed agents for payments, that humans needed agents for payments, AI is going to need the same thing, right? And even to a greater extent. AI is not going to be able to have a bank account like a human will. It's not going to be able to interact with the traditional financial system and existing financial rails in the same way that a human would. And so even though there's a lot of development that I see in Web2 AI around payments, like PayPal has an agent SDK now, and Stripe has an agent SDK. All of this will have the same shortcomings that traditional finance has, and that existing financial rails have. So this is what we're trying to solve with Web3 AI agents. And then more broadly, I think that any task that's done by a human today in your digital life can be automated. I think really big when I think about the potential of AI agents. I use this analogy that AI is to humans' relationship with the digital world as the advent of petrochemicals were during the Industrial Revolution, where before, a huge part of your day went toward collecting water and collecting firewood, all of the things that you would need to produce energy. And now we have a new technology that all of a sudden humans have a lot more free time. So AI will be that same thing, except for everything that you do on a computer. Anything that you do sitting in front of a computer, anything that requires you to have your phone in your hand, we're working to automate with AI agents, and that's a really cool agentic future that I'm very optimistic on. Now, with that being said, this entire industry during this last market crash kind of called BS on AI agents, right? Like, this was the ultimate narrative thing, and you can see this in the charts of all the agent tokens, right? And a big reason for that is because the agents don't do anything, and they have fundamental technical shortcomings, the agents that exist today, and that stem from being centralized. So when you think about the inputs of AI, the compute that's used to train AI, to train models, the data that's used, and the models themselves, all of these are extremely susceptible to centralization, right? All of the large tech companies, existing Web2 giants, are the companies that can subsidize really high CapEx early on in a model's lifecycle. These are all the companies that have all of their data. All of these companies are racing to develop these closed source models that they treat as proprietary secrets. And that's certainly not a future that I want for AI. That's not a future that I want for the agentic economy. For the AI agents that have been developed in Web3, all of them have a similar architecture where you have you use a framework like ELISA, and the agent itself is hosted completely off-chain in a server somewhere. The private key is stored in that server, and the only thing that you're doing that makes it a Web3 agent is assigning it like an EOA on base. So, there's inherent risk here. The users can be rate limited, they can be kicked off platforms at will. The private key storage is not very secure. A lot of growth is not possible without really strong business guarantees, like you're not going to be rate limited off the platform or kicked off the platform at will. It'd be really tough to make $1 million or $1 billion business using agents with getting so little guarantees from the technology that we have today in Web3 agents. And then the performance, of course, is limited by when the agents are off-chain. So, that's why the only real thing that agents do today, like a virtuals agent, is shill meme coins or take some sort of sentiment investing strategy. So something has to be done about this, and this is what we're trying to solve in Talus. By creating agents that you get much stronger guarantees around the agentic workflow, and that the agent can do a lot more by being on-chain. So this is a spectrum that we identify for AI, different AI products. Type 0 right here, you can see everything centralized, right? So this is most everything in Web 2. Type 1 agents, which is how I would classify the agents that exist today, are sitting in some sort of central repository, like a virtuals agent lives in a server somewhere, and it's taking some sort of on-chain action, right? So you give it access to an EOA on base, and then it can buy and sell tokens, but nothing about the agent itself is decentralized. And then all the way on this end of the spectrum, which is I hope what we graduate to as an industry, is a fully decentralized agent where the AI providers are all on-chain. So the model's on-chain and inference is generated on-chain. That's a little difficult right now with the compute constraints we have with blockchains. But what we've set out to build at Talus is this idea of a Web 2 agent, which is when the agentic workflow itself lives on-chain and can call resources off-chain that can then relay instructions back to the agentic workflow on-chain to take some sort of on-chain action. Yeah, so here you can see this represents decentralization right here. An on-chain workflow emits its workflow, calls some sort of AI off-chain like an LLM, and then that inference can be relayed back to the chain to take some sort of on-chain action. So why are we building this? What are the advantages that you get by having the agentic workflow live on-chain? First of all, censorship resistance, right? Everybody, I was talking to a lot of Web 2 OGs this week, and I think a lot of you guys remember the Zynga situation at Facebook, right? I was talking to some Vista people about that back in the Facebook days, right? You never want to build a business where you have substantial platform risk, right? Where you can be rate limited, where you can be kicked off a platform at will, where you can be denied access to this service, and that's every single agent in the entire world today, all right? These centralized agents, you can be completely denied from the platform at will. So by having the agentic workflow on chain, you at least guarantee access to the agentic workflow. There's some permanence in the agent itself. Next, you get transparency, right? So for most people, for users, AI is this cool thing that you ask it a question, and most of the time it does what you want it to do, but you have no view into what it's doing or how it's delivering a certain outcome. So at Talus, we think that there's a lot of value in giving users a view into exactly how an agent is delivering a certain outcome. And we think that transparency is valuable. And then composability. So that's the whole purpose of building on a blockchain, is that in Web 2, you have all of these programs that live on different state. In Web 3, you can have way better composability than what was ever possible in Web 2 because you operate on a shared data layer. And so these agents can seamlessly interact with on-chain applications. And then of course you get verifiability, and you can have decentralized ownership of agents using tokens. So what we've developed to make this happen is called Nexus. This is our Python-based SDK. We designed it to make it very similar to Crew AI and LangChain and the existing Python SDKs in Web 2 for very easy onboarding of Web 2 developers. And these are just some of its key features. So again, the idea behind Nexus and the kind of agent that we're enabling here at Talus is that the agentic workflow itself lives on Sui, right? You can have AI that's generated off-chain, you can have an LLM that's off-chain generating inference, the compute that's being used to feed the model is centralized, the data that's being used to feed the model is coming from a centralized source, but at least the agentic workflow, you should get a guarantee that that's decentralized, that you can't be rate limited, that you can't be censored from your agentic workflow, that you have transparency into what steps the agent is taking to deliver outcome, and that you can be composable with the rest of DeFi and the rest of the applications on chain. This is a little bit about the Nexus architecture. All of the on-chain logic is Sui smart contracts. This is what we use to execute workflows. The SDK itself is entirely a Python SDK, so very, very simple to use, and that was by design. We wanted really positive user experience and wanted Web 2 AI developers to be able to develop Talus agents. So up to the point of interacting with on-chain logic on Sui, you don't need to know any move. This is all a really simple DevX to create agents, and it has a feel very similar to Crew AI and LangChain in the existing Web 2 frameworks. And then of course we have the off-chain infrastructure is what provides the AI. So these are AI providers, the compute providers, the data that's being used to train and fine-tune models, and then the models themselves, or whatever the AI that's directing the on-chain action. All LLMs right now. When you interact with Nexus, there are 3 packages. First is the agent package, so that's what you would interact with as a developer. That's your agent with its own custom business logic, the workflow that lives on Sui, and that's entirely on-chain. And then we have components that we manage, that Talus Labs manages. These are things like the orchestrator, which handles the bridge between on-chain and off-chain action, collecting inference from on-chain and relaying that to the agent. And then there are a variety of tools that we let developers play with, including the normal Sui packages and AI tools that are on-chain. So again, by having the agentic workflow live on-chain, any Sui smart contract, the Navi contracts or the pseudo contracts or the Blue Move contracts or the Aftermath contracts, all of that can be classified as a tool. And so you get that native interoperability and composability with the rest of Sui by building an on-chain agent. This is a little bit about our flow. I wish I could blow this up here, but this is, here you can see that when you're interacting with Nexus, the agentic workflow lives on chain. When the agent that's on chain emits its workflow, we Talus maintain an off-chain event listener that's reading the chain, looks for that workflow, and then can trigger LLM to generate inference that can then be relayed back to the agentic workflow on chain for some sort of on-chain action. All right, who likes Walrus? Everybody like Walrus here? Yeah, we all love Walrus, right? So we're gonna have day 1 Walrus integration, and Walrus has been just as important of a partner to us as Sui has. And we want that technology to be just as prominent as Sui is. So, anything that's not any metadata that's not crucial to the agentic workflow that needs to be on chain can go to Walrus. You can treat it like any other database. And one of the cool things is that from the agent's perspective, which lives on Sui, Walrus can be treated as an off-chain resource. So, as long as the costs work out, I understand that a lot of this is pretty much perfectly commoditizable, but as long as the costs with Walrus work out, I mean, you could have any metadata that's not crucial to the agentic workflow put into Walrus, and even recreate something like a vector DB for like a fully decentralized agent. So with Walrus, you get just more censorship resistance and transparency, and I think that's really cool, and we're excited to be integrating with them. All right, so that was the deep tech stuff. Really quickly, going to cover our platform that we're building. We're launching a platform very similar to Virtuals on Sui. That's going to be called Idols, and it's an AI personality launchpad. So anyone, normie, don't have to be a developer. In a few clicks, is going to be able to come and launch an agent on Sui, and it will have an economic model very similar to Virtuals as well, where when you create an agent, it also creates an agent token, and we set up a liquidity pool that sits underneath the agent, and this is all powered by Nexus on chain. So yeah, the key right here is just user experience. Anyone should be able to come and launch an agent really quickly. This is a kind of a proof of concept of what it's going to look like. We're going very personality based, so we'll have CT figures and other famous people will be the initial idols. And then this is just the key points about our product focus here. There's really 3 use cases that I want to see. The first one, I think we've already seen on other chains, especially Solana and Base, which is the agent personality and memes, right? And this is this agent use case has extremely high covariance with just meme coin activity, right? It's kind of just meme coin beta. Like the virtuals wave was correlated with just meme coins upping, and that's good for Sui. Like that's something that I think Sui needs. It's a good time for Sui to have that kind of degenerate activity, I would say, or to pick up on that kind of thing. And that'll be the first use case that we enable with the iOS platform. Second, after that, is gamification. So the big thing that nobody has solved from a business perspective with these AI agents today is answering the question, how does an agent make you money? Okay, the first way that we're going to attack that is through gamification. So the agent captures your attention, and one of the cool things about AI agents is you basically have unlimited chances to try to capture users' attention, right, with creating different content. The agent should always be driving the user to either buy something or place a bet on something. And so this will be the next functionality that we have on the iOS platform that will be very gamified, and we're working on a lot of different AI agent-to-agent games that are going to be cool for people to play with. And then finally, DeFi. That's the ultimate agent use case. Is anything that you do in DeFi that takes multiple steps should be automated. You should be able to give a natural language command to an agent that says, "Make me money," and the agent makes you money. I think that's how we solve UX in DeFi. It's not with all of these really deep technical abstractions or anything like that. The way that you actually abstract complexity in DeFi so that like someone's grandma could use crypto is with AI, and making it so you can give a natural language command to AI, say do this for me on chain, and it does it. So that's what we're working toward. And the first iteration of that will be a yield optimization agent. So you just have this asset like USDC, you have an off-chain LLM that's reading the chain, and deposit to this highest yield on chain, and it'll do it for you. If I had to outline my broader goals for Sui, I would say 2 things. First of all, make Sui the AI chain. If you develop AI, it should be on Sui. It's the best chain, fastest, most performant, best DevX. Anything you build, I think, should be on Sui, but especially AI products. And we've certainly gotten a lot of prominence for coming to Sui. Atoma is another great AI project, and I hope to see a lot more really, really good ones going on Sui soon. And then number 2, just increase the velocity of money on Sui. So, I've seen Sui kind of take the 2020, 2021 Solana mark. We had a huge pump in the gas token. We got native USDC. We're getting huge liquidity inflows from ETH. Last time I checked, a plurality of ETH liquidity was bridging to Sui, more so than any single L2. We have native Bitcoin liquidity with Lombard and Lorenzo and Native and all these projects. So I just want to pump the numbers and do that with AI agents and agents conducting on-chain activity. So help DEX volume, stablecoin volume, all of the on-chain metrics that make a community and make an economy on-chain. Get people borrowing and lending, and just the speed at which money moves around. I think we can accomplish that with agents. All right, and then finally, next steps. We're pushing Nexus V2 to audit, and that'll be the backbone of the idols platform. So those will launch shortly after one another. That should be ready in the next it's 6 weeks to 2 months, I'd say. And then Big Alpha, we're working on a hackathon in the run-up to Overflow that will be entirely AI agent-based. And we'll get started on that. You'll get details about that as soon as Nexus completes audit. So yeah, that's what we're building with Talus. Let's make Sui the AI chain. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Scan this QR code.